We are imprinting on our house, but it's going to be there for somebody else along with everything else.
We experience our community as we travel down streets, looking at buildings, experiencing the landscape.
Where you can really look back and say, gosh, this is who I am.
When I look out my window, just about any of my windows, as my great aunt used to say, there's a view from every window. And knowing that those views will probably not change significantly, they're all very historic or very beautiful.
Historic preservation is critical as an ingredient and aspect of planning in New Paltz. The community's built heritage and its sense of place is directly related to how we develop as a community and how we grow in smart ways.
We've got responsibilities to the community at large. There are standards that we're entrusted to uphold, but we're also working with the individual property owner to try to make that outcome as good as it can possibly be for as long as you own that property and beyond. So we're interested in increasing the value and the saleability of your property by doing something that's historically accurate and has an integrity with the property that you own. Some of the myths about historic preservation review should be dispelled right at the outset. Number one, we're not interested in interiors at all. The second myth is that we somehow want to freeze a community in time. That's not what we're after at all. We want people to live in their homes in a modern way. We want people to run businesses in a modern way. We want people to have the freedom to go to restaurants that are fun and to shop in places that are very current. What we're after is trying to guide the homeowner and the business owner toward realizing those goals in a historically sensitive way.
When the HPC considers an application, we start by looking at the bigger picture. We ask, is the proposed work sited and scaled in relationship to what's already near?
In this example from New York City, we see that the scale of buildings one to the other creates a really serious dissonance. Roof shapes and sizes are a very important part of what makes historic properties historic. As you see in these details, roofs convey a lot of history, and roofs and roof details are things that we really work to preserve. Exterior materials are some of the most important things that we look at, and what we're essentially trying to do is preserve materials that give a property integrity, as opposed to some of these examples where inappropriate siding has been put up covering up details. Inappropriate siding often degrades quickly and doesn't stand up the way that original materials would do. Seams show, dents and damage becomes a permanent feature, and just as important, a lot of period detail and architectural details often lost when inappropriate materials are used to cover up things like cornices and brackets and roof details. Sometimes an entire property is essentially lost to this kind of treatment. We're really trying to help people protect their investment and not make them spend money that they don't need to. In many cases, there are modern materials that appropriately duplicate what the original was. Those can save you money, and it's going to look great at the end, and it's going to stand up for a long time. Here in New Paltz, we've got some marvelous examples of period detail that has been beautifully preserved. Things like window treatments, things like cornices, things like even the dates on buildings. We're very careful to look at doors, windows, awnings, porches, features like that should be in every case preserved. Porches are another area of great interest to us because they convey a sense of timeliness appropriate to the property. Look at, for example, these two adjacent porches. One has been well preserved, one not at all. The same thing goes for windows. Windows are a really important part of historic preservation because they are kind of the eyes of a building. As we see in some of these examples, windows can go terribly wrong. Look, for example, here. A large window completely disrupts the harmony of this building. We have examples of windows that are fit into openings that are inappropriate for the windows that are used. The same thing can happen with doors. Signage, lighting, and landscaping are important features that we also look at, and what we're trying to do is maintain the historic integrity of the property. We try to work with homeowners to find the best solution and the best affordable solution that still preserves the integrity of the building.